I don't want to see this on your MySpace page. Please, no gang signs. No, throw it up, I'm kidding. Yeah, peace. I love peace. I'll be out of a job with peace.
Listen well, brother.
I'm listening.
You know, with the benefit of hindsight,
We're still friends, right?
depends on how hard you hit me.
That your meaningless lives are now contributing
I'm
to
sorry,
the balance.
Earth is closed today.
The pose. It's a fighting pose. You're a total poser.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe has never shied away from letting its characters quip, and it's never shied away from letting those quips undercut the dramatic tension of a scene. Sometimes this approach works for Marvel, and sometimes it doesn't. But I don't think I've ever seen a Marvel movie where this overabundance of quips was the core issue of the film. That is, until I saw Black Widow. Black Widow is a movie about family, a theme that is made explicit early on and a theme that is ever present throughout the story. And I actually think this is the movie's greatest strength, at least on paper, as the main characters' complicated pasts and relationships with each other are the most interesting parts of the film. Unfortunately, neither of these items are explored as much as they needed to be explored. There are multiple scenes where Natasha, her sister Yelena, and their adoptive mother and father, Melina and Alexei, are talking about their past and attempting to reconnect with one another. But for the most part, the story only dances around these relationships, never completely delving into the shared pain and love between the four of them. Both Natasha and Yelena, rightfully so, resent their parents for abandoning them, but their parents, largely their father, just make jokes and avoid offering any substantial answers or emotional vulnerability. I think this approach of Alexei and Melina being unwilling to open up makes sense initially, but they never truly own up to the hurt and abuse that they imparted upon their children. The pair clearly care about Natasha and Yelena on some level, but that doesn't undo the harm that they actively caused them. To be more specific here, Alexei and Melina were complicit in trafficking their adopted children and training them to be child soldiers. The more I've thought about this aspect of the film, the more it bothers me. Should Natasha and Yelena consider their parents to be family when their parents were responsible for, at least in part, stripping them of their freedom and dignity, and for subjecting them to horrific abuse, mind control, and a lifetime of being used as a weapon? In my opinion, no! A healthy family does not treat each other like that. Towards the end of the opening sequence, Alexei's wife is critically wounded and his daughters are obviously terrified. So what's the first thing that Alexei does in this situation? He asks when he can get back into the action. He doesn't attempt to calm or comfort his children, and he doesn't remain by his wife's side in her time of need. He just wants to get away from this boring domestic life and get back to being a punch-happy super soldier. This is an effective way of setting up Alexei's arc. We clearly see that this man is more concerned about his own wants than he's concerned about the needs of his family. Alexei is a flawed character, and the MCU has, throughout its now lengthy history, always excelled when it presents its heroes and villains as flawed characters. But where someone like Tony Stark in the first Iron Man film takes accountability for his wrongdoings and becomes a better person by the end of the story, Alexei never really takes accountability for his actions. He never admits that he put himself before his family, and he never offers a sincere apology to either of his daughters. There's a moment after Natasha and Yelena break Alexei out of prison where Alexei jovially remarks that he's so proud of his girls because they've killed so many people. Is this joke funny? Yeah, maybe. But is the quick chuckle provided by this joke worth missing out on genuinely interesting character drama? In my opinion, no. During scenes where the movie could have seriously explored the pain, anger, and resentment between its cast, the film instead opts for quips and cheap laughs. Ultimately, that time and those scenes only touch on a topic that they needed to dive deep into. So when the end of the film arrives and the four main characters agree that they're a family, it doesn't feel entirely earned. There's plenty more I could say about Black Widow, but here's a quick lightning round just for fun. I think we needed to see more of Melina's motivation for helping her family take down the Red Room. While Taskmaster played a pretty minor role in the film overall, I appreciate that Natasha fights to save Taskmaster from her abusive father, and that she tries to amend for the wrongs that she committed against her. The tone of Black Widow was more grounded than most Marvel movies, and the scope of the film was more narrow than most Marvel movies, which feels appropriate for the story being told. Typically, the film felt more concerned with the human, personal stakes than it did with the epic world-ending stakes, even if it didn't always execute on its ideas in the ways that I would have wanted. Black Widow isn't a bad movie. To me, Black Widow is just a frustrating movie, because the potential of the story wasn't capitalized on or executed properly. What could have been a deeply emotional film that examines the complicated relationships and challenges that arise from growing up in an abusive family only became a film that danced around those topics without ever digging into the heart of them. Instead of walking away from the film impressed or satisfied, Black Widow just left me wanting more. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I had promised myself previously that I wouldn't make any more reviews like this, since these styles of videos are typically the least favorite of mine that I make, but I felt like this was an important topic to discuss. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to Critical Rants, and share your thoughts on Black Widow in the comments below. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe, and I will see you guys next time.